what are the 10 steps that you should do to launch a successful jewelry business? Interested? If so, stick around and I will go through all 10 steps in order so you can follow along and make the most of your jewelry business. My name is Megan and I'm a jewelry designer maker from South Africa, now living in Europe. For the last 7 years, I've been selling my jewelry all around the world in shops, boutiques and exhibitions. At the end of 2021, I took a huge leap of faith. I quit my 9-to-5 job in London, moved to Belgium, and started a coaching business. Follow along as I share my experience and take you through the day-to-day of being a jewelry designer, from making to running a successful jewelry brand. So you're interested in starting a jewelry career. So first of all, what you need to decide is your niche. So what kind of jewelry you would like to make. Do you want to make fine jewelry, which is made from semi-precious stones and materials that is usually a higher price point, often for weddings or special occasions or commission items? Or do you want a lower price point where you make jewelry out of beads, wires, plated metals that is a lower price point, that is for the everyday customer, people who like to wear it all the time, that's a bit more fashion, trendy jewelry. That's kind of more like you would make different collections and then make new collections as trends come and go. So is that something you want to do, or fine jewelry? Or do you situate yourself somewhere in between fine jewelry and costume jewelry? So you have a mid-price point and it could be made from semi-precious metals, could include 3D printing, could include polymer clay, wire, or silver and gold, but your price point is somewhere in between. So have a think what niche you feel most comfortable and most excited to work in, and then we can work from that point to understand your target audience and who your ideal customer will be. That leads me to point number 2. So the next step that you would need to take is to identify exactly who your target audience is. Are they the classic person who likes very classic jewelry? Or are they really trendy? Or are they brides? Or do they like buying jewelry for special occasions? So this will also help you get an understanding of who you're targeting and create a bridge between you and the kind of jewelry that you like to make and the kind of jewelry that they like to buy. So once we understand where your position is and we understand who they are, it's easier then to create a clear bridge with your branding to connect with those people. And this leads us on to the next thing that you would need to do, which is number 3, which is understanding how and where you would like to make your jewelry. Do you want to make it yourself, everything handmade and unique, and maybe you even just do custom made, one-of-a-kind pieces with limited availability? Or number 2, do you want to have pieces that are easy to assemble, potentially made from cutouts, laser cutting, different things that you can make quite quickly and mass produce yourself, so it's still handmade? Or would you like to go for number 3, where you send your designs out to be made somewhere else? So either with your 3D designs, or you can send them a master model of it and then they recreate that for you. So obviously there's options of sourcing that locally, so have a look at that, or sourcing that externally. Obviously each of these different models has a different scalability and different pros and cons. So obviously you'll need to think about those and go into detail and see what it is that you value and whether it is something that's super important to you to make it all yourself, or if you want to scale the business to a bigger, higher audience and potentially sell globally, then maybe you want to outsource that making to somewhere else so you can focus on different aspects of the business. So that really depends on you and the style of jewelry and who your target audience is. So for example, if you are making trendy, everyday, fast fashion kind of jewelry where you're changing your designs regularly and you're making lots of collections, would you be able to keep up with that if that's something that you do yourself, or would you prefer to outsource that? But taking into consideration that outsourcing and trying different models and different designs will obviously have an expense in itself. But these are just things to consider. So once you've identified your niche, your target audience, then you need to identify your manufacturing process. Point number 3. Then step number 4, what I would suggest that you do is to just start documenting your process. Whether this is on Instagram, whether this is on YouTube, whether this is wherever you feel comfortable as a platform, but it's really good practice to really start feeling comfortable and feeling confident about putting your work out there. So the more that you put your work out there, the better we get a gauge of what people's responses are. So we will see whether people like the jewelry, which pieces they're drawn towards. If you do a market, for example, which people are drawn to which items, what's the price point like, are they really attracted to it or are they pushed away by it? Then that leads us to step number 5, which is building your brand. So brand and branding are two very different things. Yes, they're related, but the brand is really what your business is about. Its core values, its vision, its beliefs, and the way that you come across to your customer. So that is all in the written content on your website, for example, the way that you come across on Instagram, and it's really gives people a clear idea about what you stand for. So branding, on the other hand, is all the visual elements that make up your branding, such as your fonts, your colors, your aesthetic, your inspiration, and all of that stuff visually that add to it, including your logo and all of that. But your brand is kind of the bigger umbrella over your branding. And this leads me to step number 7, which is creating a website. So I personally use Shopify, and it's great in terms of an e-commerce platform. And it's really easy for you to customize and to fit all of your branding colors, and there's space obviously for you to put all your product details and all of that stuff. So they do actually make it quite easy for you to do it. But really having a website as a platform where people can buy your jewelry, a place where they can find you. If you go to a market and you do something and people don't want to buy straight away in person and they want to think about it, especially if it's more of an expensive purchase, then having a business card with a website that they can come and connect with you later is an excellent option. Also, in terms of scalability and scaling your business, if you want to go and approach shops and you want to show them about your work, then obviously you can show them your Instagram, but it does definitely give you that upper edge if you do have a website where they can look at everything and understand fully what your brand is about. So make sure that you do have at least the Instagram to start off with, but then when you're ready, I would highly recommend getting yourself a website. And obviously you can sell on other platforms as well, but having that control over what your brand looks like is really an important part. Which leads me on to point number 8. So the 8th step that I would recommend is really taking care that your photography of your jewelry is really top notch. Like I've said before, jewelry photography is really important because a photograph speaks more than 1,000 words. And when people see a professional, clean, crisp image, they are far more likely to respect your brand rather than having a blurry, out of focus picture, and it makes your brand come across as way more valuable if your pictures are really good. So I really wouldn't recommend skimping on this, either taking them pictures yourself or investing in a photographer to help you do this. Next, we have step number 9, which is marketing. So this is a really important part about selling jewelry, because with anything that we need to sell, we need to market it. So there's obviously so many different ways we can go about doing this. Paid options and free options. So for example, you could invest in Facebook ads, you could do it organically, you could use influencer marketing strategies, or you could sell your work directly in shops. So when you're first starting out, obviously you have your website, you've set everything up and you're super excited, but nobody's coming to your website. But you need to find a bridge between you and the customer and finding where they are and how to get your work in front of them. So this might be doing events such as pop-ups or exhibitions in your local area, but be selective. Be really selective about these events, because not all events or craft shows are the right place for your jewelry. So consider the price range of similar items that are being sold and just items in general. So go and look at them first, go and see, is it something that you think would do well for you? Is it someplace that you think the ideal clients, customers would come and that they would potentially be interested in your jewelry? Or if the local market is just really cheap, bric-a-brac, or just like really cheap, cheap items, then maybe that's not the place for you. But if you are making cheaper, easy to buy gift items, then sure, it might be a good option for you. But maybe you need to find a place that is higher value. Maybe it's more like a pop-up inside a venue, and it's really arranged and curated, and it's with local crafters, but the work is all top quality. So anyway, just consider these different points before you rush out and do any market. But I would recommend finding ways of getting your work in front of people. And then again, Instagram is a super great platform for this, because not only can you reach people locally, you can reach people worldwide and people who share the same aesthetic as you. So once you have pinned out and got a really clear idea of your brand and your vision and your mission, then it's easier for people to understand what they're buying into when they want to choose, whether they choose or not to follow you or not. So having that clear aesthetic will make that decision a whole lot easier for people to click follow if they like what they see, and they know what they can expect to get more of by following you. Then we have step number 10, which is scaling your business. So once you've identified your business model and you are clear about the direction you want to go with it, then you can make informed decisions about how you want to move forward. So whether you want to really focus in on the handmade aspect of things, then maybe you want to hire a team to work with you, either in your studio or in their individual studios, wherever they might be. You might get a student in a day or two a week to help you with sanding things, or with packaging orders, or doing different various aspects of the business. Or the other option is to outsource the making completely. So this allows you more time to focus on the different aspects of the business, such as the advertising, such as the marketing, creating new collections, and doing all of the other things to help your business grow. So you basically step into the CEO role of your business, and you are overseeing all the things that are happening. So either way, you need to step out of your maker zone and into the bigger picture when you're scaling. So obviously this will take time, and when you feel comfortable and ready for this next step, then obviously you can jump right ahead and go for it. But it's just something that's really important for you to think about already in the beginning when you're starting things out. So let me know which of these steps you are currently on, if you've already started along your jewelry journey, or if there's any particular steps that you're really getting stuck on. Drop me a comment down below. I'd be really interested to hear where you're at, how you're going, and what you're struggling with. Maybe, for example, you're getting stuck on the Instagram and really not finding the motivation and the energy to do it. Maybe you don't know how to create a clear brand that's cohesive, that really speaks to your customer. Maybe it's the website that just seems super overwhelming, or maybe it is the whole marketing strategies and not knowing where to begin with that, and being scared of wasting your money on strategies that don't work out. So let me know where you're at, and if you're interested, I have a few spots open for my one-to-one in case you guys are interested, because this is all content that I cover in my one-to-one program. Well, that's it for this week's video, guys. I really hope you found it helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or any thoughts. I'm always happy to chat to you guys in the comment section. Till next week, wishing you guys an awesome week, sending you lots of love. Take care. Bye.